I'm going to do a little video on M&B Fitchburg chipper, changing the blades. I got me a chipper about a year ago from an old boy, kind of built it up himself, and it's an old chipper, so you know, it needed a lot of work. He made it out of converted it to propane, and he's got a Ford 390 in it that he put in at V8, and it runs really good. It wasn't chipping that great, and so I went to go wanted to change blades, and I kind of ran into a bunch of problems. And of course, you can't find a whole lot of information about these chippers on the internet, and they don't actually have manuals for them anymore. They're very hard to find. So I kind of had to just take things apart, try to figure it out for myself, and I kind of ran into some great stuff, and it was really a pain in the butt. And I couldn't find any schematics for it or anything until finally I got onto Google and found the original patent for the M&B Fitchburg chipper. And the patent had schematics for how it was originally made, and so it gave me an idea of what I was looking for. And so once I got the wedges out, which are these things here, these are your wedges that hold in your chipper blades, which it was an act of Congress. And I got these Allen bolts that go through them, and you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 in each one, but this one here is just a dummy hole that's threaded, and it takes a shorter Allen. That's just a plug. You take this plug out once you remove all of your other bolts, and then you take a big bolt like this and you thread it in here, and what it does is it pushes down right here and it pops your wedge out. So the wedge pops out, and then you can take out your blade. The problem was these had been in for so stinking long that I actually ended up twisting the head off of a bolt and broke it. So that was one major problem. Then inside, what you have that operates these deals is a little set screw that runs up and down a channel that's drilled in your cylinder. There's the hole right there. Now the back side of the hole, which is on this side, threads in, and that moves up and down as you thread it in and out. And that has a metal rod that runs up from this side that lays on top of that hex bolt, and as you move it in, it comes up, back it out, it moves down, and that's what moves your blade up and down so that you can make your adjustments after you've had them sharpened. Now this here is my old blade. It's itty bitty. I asked the guy when I bought it from him if he'd ever had the blade sharpened, and he said no, and he had owned it for maybe 9 or 10 years, so I don't think he had ever taken them out. Now, I don't know who owned it before him, but this machine could possibly have been made in the 60s, so it could have been a long time before these were changed out. Now, what we had in there, here's your metal rods. Now, as you can see, these are all different sizes. And I think the reason why they're different sizes is because whoever tried to put these blades in before couldn't adjust the adjusters, because he had an adjuster in there like this, and he had an adjuster in here like this. So what he did was just cut 3/8 metal rod as long as it needed to be to make the rods level to hold the blade. So really, he didn't do a very good job. He just kind of patched it together, and these things were so frozen up, that's why they're all bent. It took me forever. I've been working on this chipper for 3 weeks every night after work to try to get it going. I had to drill a lot of these out. Some of them I had to drill out. It took forever to get them out, and I ended up rounding 2 holes, the threads out, and had to drill up a size with a 3/8 drill and use a 7/16 tap and retap. And then I just made me a couple plugs because I couldn't find them at the hardware store, but when I find some new ones, I just made them out of a 7/16 14 bolt, and I put a slotted head in it to patch the 2 that I messed up. But hey, I mean, what are you going to do? things don't always go perfect. So you clean all your bolts up, run them on a wire wheel before you go putting them back in. And then what I did was I got me a brand new set of blades. That brand new set of blades is a lot bigger than this one. So this one here is a brand new blade. As you can tell, quite a difference in size. So obviously I'm not reusing these rods. So what I had to do basically was, once I got all the rods out from in here, there's 8 of them because you get 4 blades. There's one here and one here. Was I had to basically take a piece of steel I bought at the hardware store and cut them and keep, well, I set the screws as far back as I could, just flush here, so that I can turn them in, and then once I get them set, I can peen the outside edge so they won't back out if they should come loose. And then once I did that, then I set my rods in, and by trial and error, I set my blade on top of it, and then I'd spin it around until here's your bed knife or cutter bar, your anvil, and I would spin it around and watch that blade and see how close it was, and it was too long, so I grind it down. I kept grinding it until I come real close but not touching, and then I knew I could just adjust out a little bit. So I wanted a little bit of adjustment in, but not much. And my conclusion was on this MB Fitchburg 15-inch that a metal rod with a, I believe it's a 3/8 plug I have in there, should be about this size, is 3 1/16 of an inch. Now these go and slide right down in these holes. And that's what you set your blade on, your knife on. So that was, if that helps anybody, I'm sure I would have appreciated if somebody made a video and showed that so that I would know. And of course the anvil is set here. You have a spring tensioned bed that's back here. As anybody who owns one of these knows, when you feed a log into it, it pushes, the spring pushes down. As it feeds in, it pushes this down, butts the log up against the anvil, and then your chipper chips it. So you set your anvil so that it's just above that spring-loaded bed. And that's how I had determined where these were going to be set. So now my knife blade just barely clears the anvil, about the thickness of a business card. And that's where I have the one knife in that I've managed to put in so far, like that. So as you go to put them in, I position it here, and I lock the clutch. And what I always do, get you a big old bottle of anti-seize. Put that on your bolts. And I don't mean just a little bit on the tip. Put it on the whole dang thing. Every metal surface all the way up to the head. You will thank me later on when you go to change your blades, believe me. And these little deals, put it on the whole thing of that too. And also put it on your set screws. Everything that comes in contact with metal here that moves up or down, in or out, comes out, slides in, whatever, put anti-seize on it. Use the whole stinking bottle. It'll be worth it, because next time when you go to take this bad boy apart, it's going to come apart, and you'll appreciate it. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put one of these blades in and lube everything up and get it in, see if we can't get it set.